it's just strange to me how you have mayors who are fighting against ICE coming in to actually try to get rid of people who are here legally.
Let's bring in Chicago resident Cata Truss, who sued the city over its handling of the migrant crisis. Thank you so much for joining us. First up, what was your reaction to the president's words there?
I felt good. I felt positive. I felt that change is on the horizon. One of the things that I just want to say to Americans is pray for President Trump, pray for this administration, pray for this country. I think that if we're all on the same accord, you know, you've heard people talk a lot about in the last couple of days about peace, about love, about protections, about the good of the country. And I want us to keep those things at the forefront of the focus as we begin to see a lot of the things that President Trump wants to do here in America, those mandates pushed. And in terms of the migrant crisis here in Chicago, we're excited. We're excited to see that something is about to happen, that there's about to be a change. We cannot continue to hemorrhage money in this city the way that we have been. I do have some concerns, though, about the fact that I do know that city officials here are holding classes to teach migrants how to avoid ICE or how to evade ICE.
That's crazy. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. City officials are preparing people. And again, you know, Brandon Johnson has come up with this whole thing about teaching illegal migrants know your rights and ways to evade ICE. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, in an American city where you know you have people who should not be there, they eventually were going to get deported. I don't know. I don't know what the reason is. You know, all I know is that, you know, with the sanctuary cities, there was money that came into the city to fund a lot of this stuff. A lot of this stuff is funded by taxpayers, and the people who actually live here legally are not happy about it. And that's the reason why they ended up voting for Donald Trump, because they voted for someone who is actually going to follow the actual law. So the fact that these mayors and attorney generals are trying to get in the way is just an insult. It's an insult. I mean, there's nothing wrong with America being first. There's nothing wrong with following the laws of your country. If you got up right now and decided you were going to go to Colombia, you were going to go to Guatemala, you were going to go to Venezuela, and just go and just sit in their country, you wouldn't be able to do it. You would probably be in jail much sooner. You would, you know, before you got deported.
Basically teaching illegals how to be more illegal, if you will. That's troubling for me, but I have complete faith and confidence in Tom Homan and in our current president. So I'm excited for what's to come.
All right. So you mentioned Tom Homan. He brought up Chicago earlier when he was on this program, Caught for Five Guys. This was Homan talking about how he's working up a target list. Listen.
We've been working up the target list. There was some discussion about Chicago because the specific operational plan was released. So we had to look at and reevaluate, does this raise officer safety concerns? And it does. But we've addressed that, and teams are all effective today.
Okay, so how confident are you that they're going to right the ship there in Chicago that's been dealing with this crisis?
I'm very confident. I am confident in this administration. I am confident in Tom Homan getting things done. And I am confident that the Chicagoans are going to step up. We're ready to assist in any way we can. There are those of us who are willing to work with this administration to make sure that people who are here illegally are sent back home.
All the illegal migrants who were bused to sanctuary cities, keep in mind, they dumped them in black neighborhoods. They dumped them in all the black neighborhoods, mainly South Side, probably some of the West Side, in black neighborhoods. And somehow they expect the residents there to somehow fight against their own interests. Illegal migrants somehow are now part of some level of struggle, some level of civil rights, some level of they're trying to merge that in with the struggle that black people go through in this country. I think that's just wrong. I don't even understand that. There's outrage. They're talking about how ICE is going to run up in schools and churches. And at the end of the day, you can see that ICE is not trying to go in and just drag people out and cause a bunch of havoc, but they are trying to actually go in and arrest people who are illegal. Now, like I said before, Tom Homan has said, like, look, we're trying to go after criminals. And honestly, in Chicago in particular, in and around the community, looking for people or targeting people who they want to arrest who are illegal, they're going to run into people who are criminals and people who are not criminals. But at the end of the day, criminal or no criminal, if you're in the country illegal, it's just illegal. So the fact that they're trying to make the community feel like the black community, the residents should have some type of compassion because something is happening to them. Nothing is happening to them. They have come into a country, did not do the legal process, and don't have the right to actually be here. It's not that you're hating on them personally. And that's what I hate, the fact that the narrative has been turned into something personal against, Venezuelans or Colombians. It's nothing personal against them.
We want to also make sure that those criminals who came here to set up their criminal operations, again, are sent home. And so whatever we have to do as Chicagoans to assist with that, we're ready and willing to help.
Okay. Here is more from President Trump vowing to take back our cities. Okay. CF1, guys.
I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities.
All right, so he is making some big promises here. I want to ask you about what people are saying on the ground there in Chicago. We know this is a Dem-led city. We know there are a lot of, Democrat voters in that town. Are you hearing people come around on these policies, seeing the problems that city has had?
Well, here's the thing that people, I think, fail to understand about Chicagoans is that most of us are not okay with what is happening. Most of us are not okay with the migrant crisis. And in spite of what you may hear our mayor and Governor Pritzker say about how Chicagoans feel and where we stand, we are not happy about what is happening here. So we're excited that President Trump is in office. We are excited that Tom Homan and his team is coming here to help us out of this mess that our mayor and governor seem to be content on keeping us in.
Please, and Brandon Johnson is completely reckless. Everybody knows it. And if they hadn't have voted Trump in, can you imagine what Chicago would have been in a couple of years? Because they were doing nothing to change anything in Chicago. Nothing. And Chicago is just a textbook example of how a lot of these cities have gone bad. New York has plenty of problems too. And could you imagine if nothing was done?
At that point, the governor of your state says that Trump's scaring people. So is that true?
No, not at all. Not at all. And let me tell you something. I think that what has to happen, and not that I want to help the Democrats at all, but keep in mind, people either voted overwhelmingly for Trump or they stayed home. And the fact that people did that, those people who stayed home and didn't show up to vote, it was still an attack on that party, on that Democratic Party. You had triple the number of people who did not show up to vote this election. So that should say to you, people are not happy with this. So in spite of what you may hear our governor say, the people are quite okay with what's happening.
Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Crucial Combo.